Hey, what is going on, guys? Joe the Chocobo here with an update slash feedback slash comment video for ARK, and this is going to be a little bit more so for everyone to give me their thoughts and opinions about what is going on with the ARK series and overall. So yeah, definitely more for ARK. So if you're here for other things, don't really worry about it. You can watch it; it doesn't hurt, but definitely not so much for you. But for those of you who specifically watch ARK, this should be a fairly important video. And I would like to stress this right now. If you have commented in the past, you're, again, more than welcome to comment again. But for those of you who have not commented historically, and you're just like, yeah, you know, I just kind of watch it and then I move on, please, please, please leave feedback on this video so I understand what you guys would like to see and stuff like that. I may not necessarily I may not necessarily take whatever advice you give, slash I may not necessarily do what you specifically want, but I'll do my best to kind of make sure that as many people can be made happy as possible. So give it a crack at it. I mean, worst case scenario, things are just going to be more or less the same for you. I can't imagine anyone will be negatively impacted by any kind of change. And if so, it would be a very minor thing compared to presumably some benefits. So anyways, onward with the actual thing. So we are currently sitting on the island, and if I were to kind of make a roadmap of where we're going with the series, the next, well, obviously we're in the middle of caves. So clearing out the caves allows us to get to the artifacts, which in turn will let us fight the bosses and blah, blah, blah. So we have to wrap up caves right now. We currently have 3 caves remaining, which is going to end up being the upper south cave, which is the one that we died in last time. We also have the swamp cave, and then we also have the ice cave. Now, the ice cave, of course, is known to be ridiculously super hard. So who knows how long that will take. But I presume that, assuming that we can actually be well kitted and that we're, you know, actually getting ready properly for it, it should be something that's relatively manageable. But after we do that, we would then have to go into dinosaur breeding and stuff like that, which also means that we have to start looking for, you know, really good stock dinos. What I mean by that is we have to look into like finding 120 Rexes and stuff like that, so we can actually prepare for the incoming next step, which would be the boss fights. I don't remember off the top of my head how many bosses there are, but there are a pretty generous amount. So there are those. Now, I'll throw in as a side note, there are also these underwater caves. I don't know what they do. I don't know how they interact. They may drop something that lets us fight different kinds of bosses. I'm not sure. So we may also have to do them at some point, and I plan to do them at some point. I just don't know when in this whole order they would happen, because if they don't impact boss fights, then presumably we'll end up doing them after we finished into tech tier, because I think we get laser sharks, and laser sharks are cool. So that is the current game plan for the island. So let me know, number one, if that set of feedback or if that roadmap sounds good to you guys. If that sounds like a good plan, or if I'm missing something major, be sure to let me know. And then after we do that, contingent upon Ashley would be whether or not we want to jump right into another season of ARK on a different map. Ragnarok obviously being a very obvious choice there, but Scorched Earth also being a fairly good choice as well, because Scorched Earth is a different set of critters, and I don't know if they've added anything much since we've played it, but it should still be pretty good to round out our dino roster. I think we can take dinos between the different maps, so it could potentially be very, very smart to do that. Let me think. And so, yeah, there's Ragnarok, there's Scorched Earth. We could theoretically go back to center, although I don't really know why we would at this particular point in time. Like, it's possible. Again, I don't know what the value of that would necessarily be. But I think that would be about it. Although the center looks gorgeous, I will say that. But, yeah, well, so that would be the next step if we were to continue ARK on to next season. So that's number 2 on the list of what you guys could give feedback on is, hey, does this make sense? Obviously, if Ashley's like, I can't do any more ARK for right now, I need to take a break, then I'm not going to be able to, well, I could theoretically run a solo season again, but I think I'll prefer to do it with Ashley, just because it opens up way more activities, and it's a lot easier to manage certain things, for sure. So that is the current game plan for that. Okay, now, all that aside, there's one last thing that I have to ask you guys, which is, what are you guys thinking slash feeling about breaking up ARK to a... So currently we're on a 2-day cycle, right? So every other day we have ARK that comes up, and then there's usually a Sky Factory or what is theoretically a Minecraft slot for the other day. I was thinking about maybe kind of breaking it up a little bit so we have a little bit more variety on the channel here. And I think the Sky Factory thing, I think I do want to keep at a relatively consistent schedule. But I was wondering what you guys think about putting ARK to a 4-day cycle. So it's every other day. So if I were to actually, like, you know, put that down on like dates or whatever, let's say that today is what, Tuesday? So if today is the ARK video, it would be Tuesday ARK, Wednesday Minecraft, Thursday blank, Friday Minecraft, and then Saturday would be the next ARK. It's a very long amount of time between ARK episodes, but I'd be curious to know if you guys would be open to doing that, provided that there's a new like game in that slot where the other ARK would be. And so if that's something that's of interest to you, definitely let me know. The games that would currently be on my mind for what would be likely, I'll try to order this in kind of what I think is a good order. So Subnautica, I believe, has been delayed. And I'm not 100% sure about that. I haven't been following the news terribly carefully. But my understanding is that Subnautica has been kind of goofy in that they got pushed back to, I think, like spring 2018 or something like that for the release. I don't know what they've released onto the actual main game client or if that was a version 1.0 thing and that's already out there. I don't know. But I know that we held off on Subnautica previously because we were like, okay, we're waiting for the game to get to that right state. So if any of you guys happen to know the answer to this, in terms of like, is Subnautica ready to be played by me at some point, or at this point rather, then do let me know about that. But Subnautica would be a very good running candidate for that, just so we can actually get into it. Because if in case one, if it's been updated, great. If it hasn't been updated, it's going to be updated in 2018 spring or whatever. Then we have plenty of time to get into it before we have to really worry about it. So there's that. We also, of course, have Stranded Deep, to kind of stay in the same vein of things. An interesting game. I don't know if the depth of content is really improved drastically. I feel like it has. I feel like I've seen some things where I was like, wow, this has gotten a little bit crazier. But it's something, if you guys like Stranded Deep, there's also that. We also have Rust. I haven't played Rust before. Honestly, I don't even know how to start the game, to be completely honest with you guys. But yeah, Rust seems like it could potentially be a good game, so let me know about that. We also have... I have to say this just because there is like a list of these things. Technically I can go try Conan Exiles again. I would, if you guys are like, oh, it sounds like a cool idea, but you've never seen anything from it, I would recommend, number one, the game is insanely PG-13, if not worse. So be aware that there is that. Obviously, if it's on my channel, we'll make sure everything is set so it's more everyone friendly. But it's definitely out there as a game. I don't know if it's really like I don't know. It was a very odd game last we played. I don't know if it's improved in quality either. So I honestly have no idea where Conan Exile sits at. But I know I'm kind of skeptical with the game. We also have Don't Starve. Don't Starve is a fun little game. We could theoretically play with that with other people. Again, I would probably assume the natural candidates would be Ashley, but we could also maybe reach out to the general Quake community, especially my mods and stuff like that. So certainly a possibility there for Don't Starve. And the last of the list would be 7 Days to Die, which we didn't give that fair of a chance to. So I'll give it another shot. Admittedly, I'm not super convinced it'll make for great content at the moment, but hey, we'll give it a chance. We'll give it its fair shake. So anyways, take those games I just listed. If you would like to see, well, number one, if you do not want ARK to go onto a 4-day cycle, let me know that too. But if you do want ARK to go into a 4-day cycle and you're like, oh man, you know what? I love ARK, but I think I would also like to kind of just break it up a little bit. We can certainly do that as well. And you know, we could theoretically do a 3-day rotation. It's possible, but you'd have to give me a very good reason for it. But if you would like for it to be kind of broken up, let me know. Or if you like for it to stay as it is, let me know. If you like for it to be broken up, let me know that as well. But if you do ask for that, understand that I'm expecting you to give me some kind of like ranked list of what games you want me to play. So if you have any preference at all, make sure that those preferences are clear. So if you're like, oh, you know what, I really want to do, I want to see Don't Starve and I want to see, I don't know, Stranded Deep. And those are your two, and you're like, everything else don't really care about except for Conan Exile. I hate this game. If you think that, make sure that you comment that, not as strongly worded, but make sure they're like, hey, you know, my top choices would be, you know, Don't Starve and Stranded Deep. And then just please don't play blah. That's fine. Or you can just tier all of them. It's like my number 1, number 2, number 3, blah, 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 blah. You can let me know that way as well. If you're just like, hey, I'm open to any of them, this is my tiered list, just so I know what you guys would prefer over the other, because I know that obviously I can't play all of them at once. It would be crazy. I can't do it. Ain't enough time in a day. But anyways, that is going to wrap it up for this update thing. Please let me know those 3 things of major feedback. Again, number 1, we're looking to kind of know if you guys are okay with the roadmap for the island playthrough. Number 2, what is number 2? Was number 2 the next season of ARK question? I think it was. Go back in the video. I don't remember, but I think it was whether or not we should go into the next season of ARK or right after this and what we would do. And number 3 is kind of what game would you want to see? Well, number 1, would you want to see ARK being pushed to a 4-day schedule instead of a 2? And then as a sub question to that, if it did go on a 4-day schedule, what would you like to see in the other slot? So anyways, thank you very much for sticking through it. If you've managed to watch the whole thing, you're like, wow, Choco, seriously, this is quite a tall order. I do hope you take some time because, you know, this channel isn't just like, oh, this is where Choco does anything he wants. I mean, it is to an extent what I want to do, but I also want to make sure that you guys are involved in the whole process of it because this is a channel that was made together, right? So anyways, I'll see you guys in the time. Take care of yourselves and ciao for now.